Boy Mac 2 Cool 93 here, and we are live here on Facebook, or no, not Facebook, YouTube and Twitch. And today we have the Alex Evans on today with A Day in the Life of. So I'm going to go ahead and flip on my. Oh, why is it not capturing? Come on. Okay, I'm in the wrong one, that's why. Ha, there we go. We are live here with Alex Evans. Do you want to go ahead and tell us about yourself while I get some of these shares going? Just a quick little rundown of who you are.
You want me to introduce myself?
Yes, so I can do my get the shares going. Just tell us a little bit about yourself real quick.
Well, my name is Alex Evans, one of the best independent wrestlers in the Carolinas, trained by LeBron Cozone at the Firestar Pro Wrestling Academy in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Awesome. So do you have any socials that you would like them to follow you at for the ones who are here? Or do you not do social media?
Of course I do social media. It is Alex Evans on Facebook and _Alex_Evans on Instagram.
Okay, nice. I'm almost done doing my shares. So just give me one quick second. We will hop right into this. So that way we can bring some people in to see the man that is Alex Evans. And that gets annoying. I gotta figure out what that sound is. There we go. All right. So, how's everyone doing today? It shows we've got 2 people live. We got 2 viewers here on Twitch. So how are we doing, everyone? Again, I'm live here with the Alex Evans, a Firestar Pro Wrestling graduate, which is, ironically enough, one of the sponsors here of the stream. Which, if you are looking to become a pro wrestler, or you're wanting to check out a show before you decide on if this is the school for you, go to www.fspwrestling.com, and you can check out them on YouTube. It's FSPW Classic, I do believe, on there, and you can check out all previous matches. You can check some of what's been going on. Oop, that is the wrong one. On Facebook, YouTube, because I don't have one on YouTube. That's or on Facebook. That's right. But yeah, so if you want to check us out there, you can. And welcome into the one person over in YouTube. How are we doing? So I'm going to go ahead and get started in here. So, Alex, when did you start training to be a pro wrestler? And was Firestar always the place you wanted to train?
I had trained previously a little bit when I lived in New York. I'm originally from upstate New York.
Okay.
Trained up there for a bit, for like a year and a half. I left New York. I moved to Chicago, and then, couldn't really find many schools out there at the time, and working full time and then going to school full time, it just kind of let it slip. But I walked through the doors at Firestar. It was December 14th of 2021.
Okay. So you had previous, but when you moved to Gaming and Whiskey, what's going on? Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. thank you for that follow. I'm currently live doing a day in the life of, and I'm here with someone who, if you're from Greensboro, you would know him if you go to Firestar Pro Wrestling shows. It's the Alex Evans. So, what was the training like for you, and how did you cope with, kind of getting injured during it?
Training's tough, man. Training's tough. It's tedious. This is, I think it's been said so many times by so many people, just that not everyone can do this, right? This is not for everyone. It's very physical and it's very demanding, both, on your body, physically, emotionally. It takes a lot out of you. It's not easy. And I like this, not even just training, but even just, working and being a professional wrestler. I don't believe anyone ever is 100% as a wrestler. You're always going to be something always going to be bothering you. You're going to have some sort of nagging injury. No one ever wrestles at 100%. But it's just something you got to get through. I've gotten slightly hurt. I've gotten hurt a couple months into the training. And then towards the end of my training, I was actually one of my first matches I worked at the big Wrestle Revival show, which is like the WrestleMania for Firestar Pro Wrestling, and rightfully so. It's a huge, amazing show that they put on every year. And going back, I had, like I said, when I was previously training years ago, I had some surgeries and some work done in between from when I stopped to when I started back up last year with Firestar. So it was going to be interesting to see how things were going to hold up. And luckily they did. And like I said, you're always going to have nagging injuries. But if this is really something that you want to do, you just have to come to the realization that, physically you're never going to be at 100%. You just have to kind of cope with it and take the best care of yourself that you can, and just keep pushing through and keep doing what we do. And for those of us that are fortunate enough to be involved in this great sport and business, we live, eat, and breathe it, and we love it. So no matter what, we just keep pushing through and keep working, keep training.
So for those of you who don't know, I've basically the equivalent of one bump, just so y'all kind of have a general idea. For what I've been told, is like is a car crash at 36 miles an hour. It's not gonna, when it happens, you're not gonna feel it that first day, but that next day, if you take 6, 7, 8 to 10 bumps, it's gonna start, riding up. So then that next day, you're gonna feel it, and not a lot of people, body can handle that. Like with me, I coming into it, I kind of knew that there would be a little bit of issues because I trained for 3 days, but I still tried to come to some of the shows before work started going crazy. I blew out my knee. Like, I'd already had 2 knee surgeries like 10 years prior to that. Actually, no, now at that time it was 11 years prior to that. So I took that day 3, I took that bump, and just my knee buckled, and it swelled up for like the next 3 to 4 days. Couldn't really put pressure on it. So like, Alex came in with those pre-existing injuries, didn't know, but like he pushed through it. With me, I think it might have been another ACL injury, and even right now, like certain days it swells up. Going off of, what injury was, do you want to reveal what the injury was, or do you just kind of want to keep...
Which one?
The Firestar injury.
Oh, yeah. I had the pleasure of being in the Battle Blitz, which they do every Wrestle Revival, which is really awesome, kind of cool concept of basically like a Royal Rumble, but it's in waves, right? So 10 people will start, they'll go down to one, then 10 more will come in, they'll go down to one, 10 or so more will come in, and then whoever wins and is staying in there for that final wave ends up being the winner and eventually gets a title shot of their choosing for Firestar. And I had gone in there in the second wave and started to throw people out left and right like I do. And I had the pleasure to be in there with the returning TDT, the Guardian, Tevin.
Hey.
And and that was his first night back. He was actually coming off of an injury. He was out for a couple months, so he was pretty fired up. And if anyone knows who TDT or Tevin is, he's a very large, strong man. And he hit me with a clothesline from hell that would put JBL to shame. And it was just a high impact and like, I mean, the guy almost literally turned me inside out. I ended up having a fractured clavicle, collarbone, if you will.
Yeah.
Ow. I really it was scary, man, because at first I that previous injury before I'd even started at Firestar like 10 years ago was I had a torn labrum. Ooh. And I had surgery on that. Yeah, and it was a pretty bad torn labrum. It was something that happened in the ring too. If you were like looking at the face of a clock, my labrum was torn from 12 to 10. So it was like barely hanging on there. So they went in there, put like 4 sutures and anchors in my shoulder. Everything was great. But when he hit me, I just felt this tingle that just started in my shoulder and went down my arm. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, oh man, I was like, don't tell me my shoulder got messed up again.
Yeah.
But he took advantage of that and eliminated me shortly thereafter. And I just remember I was in the back in the locker room and I was just kind of like getting dressed from my gear, and I have like a suitcase that is my gear bag. I just went to go like nudge my street clothes over to the side of my suitcase, and even just doing that like little slight motion, moving a couple ounces of clothes, it hurt. And I was like, oh man, I was like, don't do this to me now. Like, are you kidding me? But over the next couple of days, like, and I can move it, you know what I mean? I can put it up over my head and go side to side. I was like, okay, so it's not my shoulder. But I think the show was on a Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the doctors that following Wednesday or Thursday. They took x-rays and it was just like, yeah, it's a chip fracture of your collarbone. Okay. And you can't do anything for that. You know what I mean? You can't have surgery. You can't. Yeah. It wasn't split in half, if you will. So you just, you rehab it and you take care of it and tape it up. And I want to say, so that happened on a Saturday. I went to the doctors like that following Wednesday or Thursday. And then following Tuesday, I was right back at training. So.
Heck yeah. So just to give kind of, it seems like we've got, I don't know, it's not showing up here, but we've got Drapsnat, Gaming and Whiskey, and Snaptrick 1018 here in Twitch, and we've got one over in YouTube. Welcome in, guys. We're here with Alex Evans. Thank you all for being here. So for you, who's someone that you look up to in the wrestling business?
Man, hands down, I gotta say it's LeBron. LeBron Cozone, who's the head trainer, owner of Firestar Pro Wrestling. That guy, he started off as, my coach and my trainer, and I consider him one of my best friends and like a brother to me right now. But what that guy has been able to do outside of his own work, how that man isn't signed to one of the big major organizations in this industry was just flabbergasting to me. I don't understand it. But outside of his own work and his work rate, second to none. I know you've seen him work. Yeah. And other people can see him work on YouTube and Instagram. And the guy is just
crazy good.
Yeah, man, he's ridiculously good. He's just such a good worker. But outside of that, though, what he's been able to do with Firestar, I mean, it's tough to start an independent promotion
And keep it going for as long as.
Yeah, exactly. But to have been able to have done it now for, I mean, last year they just had their 10-year anniversary show.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy crap, man. Like 10 years this man has been putting on shows and quality shows too.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the talent that has gone through Firestar and worked Firestar. I mean, Austin Theory, Riff Garrison, Marcus Cross. I mean, they're all WWE, AEW superstars, and some of them are even Firestar graduates. So the man knows how to pick out and properly train and cultivate talent. So he's really just someone that I look up to immensely. Just what he's been able to do for me personally and professionally, but just who he is as an individual and as a boss and as a promoter. It's I put him on a pretty high pedestal. He's just an amazing individual and an even better wrestler and promoter too.
Yeah, kind of like what I said over the last couple shims that I've done with this, and I've brought in people that I've met through Firestar. Like LeBron knows what he's doing. If like he,
I mean, you've been to the school.
Yeah,
like it would be very hard to find another training facility or another school or academy that is like that. You know what I mean? I mean, you've heard horror stories about, we train in this guy's garage in a wrestling ring or in his backyard or whatever the case may be. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from anyone that's done something like that or been down that road and gotten far in this industry, in the sport. But it is hands down the best training facility that I have ever been to and seen.
Yeah, like same.
He knows what he's doing, and he's a very, very smart man. He's a very smart man.
And so when I first met LeBron, he's not one of those coaches that'll just go in there and just be overbearing and just be that just brash. He's very cool, calm, and collected. Like you see him wrestle, and you wouldn't think that. Like he's very soft spoken, but he's gonna tell you what you're doing wrong, and he's not gonna say it to you just to discourage you. He's gonna be like, so instead of doing it this way, bring yourself out a little bit more, do it this way. And
it's just a funny way how he does that, because he will like you said, he will tell you, be like, that looked terrible.
Yeah.
Like that sucked. Try this, or do it like this, or tweak this, or try this next time. And he's not telling you to do it that way, to try to demean you or reprimand you. No, because people need to understand too. It's just like if you are fortunate enough to train at Firestar and go through the graduation test and then graduate, you're not just representing yourself as an individual and a wrestler. You are carrying around that Firestar banner with you too, and you represent LeBron as well. So and that says a lot. When you can put that stamp or type that into your resume, where you can say, I graduated from Firestar Pro Wrestling Academy, I was trained by LeBron Cozone. That says a lot.
Yeah, because
get you far, because I think a lot of people know that he's just a straight shooter, no bullshit kind of guy, but he thoroughly wants the absolute best for everyone that comes out of that school.
Yeah.
And he will help you in every sort of facet of this industry, taking care of yourself physically, obviously working safely in the ring and protecting other people in the ring. But just, marketing yourself and how to carry yourself outside of the ring, because all of that stuff plays a part in your wrestling career, not just what you do inside the ring, but what you do outside the ring too. So
exactly,
I think a lot of people start out really young too, when they want to be wrestlers, if they're 17, 18. I mean,
Jackson
Drake
and
Jay Malachi and Jackson,
they were
Drake
13.
13
years old. And they've been in for 5 years now.
Yeah, so when they started training, so he's molded those kids into young men, and he really gives you all the tools inside and outside the ring to succeed. So it says a lot when you can go through that process, especially under his tutelage and guidance. So.
Yeah, because if you watch AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, Jay Malachi has been on there, Jackson Drake's been on there, Oliver Sawyer, SoFly Manny Low. Who else?
Alexander Moss, who was the Firestar heavyweight champion.
Yeah, Alexander Moss. I think Sadie Lee Moss.
I'm not. I don't know. Amira.
Yeah, Amira. I know she's been on there. Like, just think of those names and think of it. Jackson and Jay Malachi, 18 years old, freshly 18. They've been doing it since they were 13. Griff Garrison was.
I don't think those two kids. I don't think they understand how talented they really are.
Yeah, like
I mean, they know they're good because so many people tell them. But those two dudes are so freaking talented. It's scary, especially at 18 years old.
Yeah,
how talented those guys are.
Yeah, and like if you look at Griff Garrison, he was one of the first graduates of Firestar. And then
Marcus Crawford, another one too.
Yeah,
both of them.
And then look at Austin Theory. He's only been doing it like 5 years wrestling. Yeah. Maybe he's on his 6th year. And like those guys came out of Firestar. Like they are great talents. And that goes to show something about LeBron. Like he's not training someone just to, stay on the independence. Like he's training you to take that next leap and already right off the bat be like, We're throwing you in with quality matches, quality shows, just so you can be like, hey, when I get there, I'm kind of going to know what I'm doing already.
Yeah. And not only that, but like some of the people that will come through as like guest coaches and seminars that LeBron will put up. I mean, I was fortunate enough to do a seminar with JD Drake.
Great guy.
And great guy. Phenomenal guy. But some of the guys that he'll bring in, and like Jack Evans and Sean Dean from AEW, like he'll bring in these guys and
Jay Lethal.
The wealth of knowledge that not only LeBron encompasses, but just the people that he knows and that come into Firestar to help teach us and to better us inside and outside the ring. It's second to none. It's pretty safe to say that LeBron knows what he's doing when it comes to wrestling in this industry. He's a wealth of knowledge, man.
So we've got Thor Effect Gaming. How we doing? Welcome in. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Okay, so how would you describe your style of wrestling, and did you model it after anyone?
I did. I'm kind of like a melting pot. I'm very methodical in the ring. I'm about like 6'2", about 215. But I took some qualities of some of the best, in my opinion, wrestlers that I've seen work in the ring. I like to joke around and say it's like a mixture between like, and this is going to sound like such a weird combination, of a mix between like a Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, a Bret Hart, and like a Brock Lesnar, kind of all rolled up into like a ball.
So like a striker, technician,
just like I said, like very just like technical, methodical, in everything that I do. But I'm not the strongest guy in the world, but I'm pretty strong. So if I need and want to throw you around, I can. Yeah. I can definitely do so. But yeah, I took bits and pieces of guys that I studied and watched and was just big fan of growing up, and then obviously getting into that newer generation Attitude Era and stuff like that, and just seeing some of that talent coming there too. I just like to. So I also feel like you got to be pretty. You can't be like a one-trick pony in this business. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that's very interesting to someone to watch. So like if you can take different facets of some of these wrestlers that have just been, legends in this industry, and take some of their qualities and kind of mold it to your own personal style, and do what you want with it. I think that just draws people in more, because don't get me wrong, you won't see me getting on the top rope doing a 450 splash. But if I can throw someone around with an overhead belly and a German suplex and get them up for my TKO finish, but also, slap them in the hell of a submission and work one of their limbs for the whole match. It's just like, I want to be able to not just be like a one-trick pony and be multifaceted, because, you also got to think of the fact that, like, I'm probably not going to be able to lift a 350, 400-pound dude up over my head for my finish, right? So what am I going to do to try to get one over on them? Well, you got to take a different route. You got to be slower, methodical, more technical, and work on them. So being able to have those different types of abilities and strengths in the ring is definitely extremely beneficial. So I try to take bits and pieces from some of those guys, like I talked about and described before, and just kind of make a melting pot, and boom, out popped.
So Gaming and Whiskey said, gotta adapt and change regularly.
You do.
And then they also said, I would pay to see a 450 splash from the top rope.
That's not going to happen.
So
not going to happen.
So kind of like what they've said, you've got to continuously change. Like, look at AJ Styles from when he started in TNA. He was, part of the X Division. Everybody knows that X Division is high flying, like not quick, so to speak, but their matches are quick, high flying, not real technical. They do the flippy. And, looking at him now, he'll still pull out every now and again, like some high flying stuff, like the spiral tap. Like you don't see him do it as much, because he's even said that was when he was using that as his finisher. It took a toll on his body. So the older you get, the more you just kind of gotta adapt. But like, he's went from a high flyer to a technical wrestler to he spent time in Japan. He adapted that hard hitting strike. So he's taken that. He's
a whole different ballgame.
Oh yeah. I love the strong style. Like I will say that is probably one of my favorite things watching, is like the New Japan guys. The Japanese strong style. I love that.
Yeah. Even another better example too. Look at a guy like The Undertaker.
Yeah.
You look at the longevity of that guy's career, and that guy had to change with so many different times in this business, right? Think about when he first came in 1990.
It was still kind of the golden era.
Yeah, that golden era. But you got to look at, like, he didn't sell. He didn't need to. He didn't talk. You know what I mean? And then you kind of go down a little further, and it's just like, okay, then he changed a little bit. Remember, like, he went to like that purple Undertaker kind of thing, right? And then he kind of went into like
the American Badass
Ministry Undertaker, and you're like, oh wow, this guy can actually cut a heck of a promo too, right? You know what I mean? And then you get into the whole American Badass Undertaker and the Harley and the bike and that epic entrance that he used to do. And then it kind of like faded off. And when he finally came back at like WrestleMania 20, it was like that mix of like old school Taker with like the entrance and kind of attire, but still like, he wasn't just silent. And the only thing he didn't say was, rest in peace in the promo. And I think he carried that on throughout the last like 10 years or so of his career. But that guy adapted so much. But he remained so relevant. He was just one of those guys that was able to do that. And it's tough, A lot of people. I'm sure me and you could think of a handful of wrestlers that like tried to change their persona, or their character, or how they worked and stuff. It's just like, doesn't do it, right? It didn't work. So they have to kind of just go back to being what they were, what they'd done for so long. And it got him so far, but it's only going to get you so far.
Exactly.
So whether it's the way you are in the ring, the way you work in the ring, or how you, how you allow others to perceive and look at you, you always just got to be changing, adapting with the times to make sure you can have a long, successful career.
Exactly.
In this business.
Like one person I will say who has had a significant character change and change their style, Sting.
Yeah, man.
That man's been around since WCW, and like just thinking about it, like he was never the guy to like go to WWE until he went to WWE, and I've said that he's wrestled for all the major promotions in the U.S. He wrestled for WCW, TNA / Impact. He went to WWE for like 2 or 3 years, and now he's in AEW. Like, that
at 62, 63 years old too.
And like look at Flair. I hate to say it, Flair stayed the same character since the 80s.
I'm pretty positive. I'm pretty sure that we could say that Flair is like one of probably less than like a handful of workers who have been. And I think it's because I don't think Ric Flair is a character.
That's just Ric Flair.
I think Ric Flair is Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And that's who he is inside and outside of the ring. So like he was never being a character, a persona. What you saw on TV was Ric Flair outside the ring too. So, he was that same way for his entire career. And I'm pretty sure it's safe to say he has had, if not the greatest career out of any wrestler ever. He's done pretty good for himself. But even look at being on that topic, even look at a guy like Triple H. Oh, right? He came in as like some blue chip blood, regal guy, right? Yeah. And then it was the DX Triple H. Then it was like the game Triple H. Then it was just like
the cerebral assassin.
Man. He did the same thing too, and he had to. I think it takes a pretty smart guy and worker to realize when they have to change and adapt. I think some guys don't really have the acumen to know when they need to do so, because in their mind they think, well, no, this has brought me so much success and I've gotten this far doing this, and cool, you're right, but times change, people change, the audience changes. What promoters look for changes. So you need to be able to change yourself too, to make it more appealing to who you want to work for and where you want to work. Like going back to what you said with AJ, AJ couldn't have wrestled, I don't think, the way that he did in TNA over in New Japan.
Oh no.
Right?
They'd ate him alive.
There's no way. So he had to change, and then he's just one of those other anomalies where he can kind of turn that switch on and adapt his styles, right? And wherever he's working or what he's doing. Yeah. And there's a handful of guys that can do that, and there's a handful of guys, there's a lot of more guys that can't. So
yeah, I'm gonna say Cena. And I give credit to Cena. Grew up, when I got back into watching it, Cena was one of the guys that I started, watching for. But there was those times where I'm like, man, he just needs to change that one little thing. And he even said there was multiple times he wanted to turn heel. So that's why you got the tweener Cena. And if a lot of people don't realize, don't know the difference, they just know heel and face. A tweener is someone who adapts both is someone who's not a face, but they're not a heel. They get cheered, but they get booed. And, towards his later years in his career, he loved that. But I think when he was at the height of getting booed all the time, if they'd have just turned him heel, that man would have had so much more heat on him. I definitely think if they'd have, let him change his persona a little bit, go back to that ruthless aggression era Cena, and I think he would have been that next guy, but they marketed him towards kids, and I get why, but he stuck around for so long. It took Roman a lot longer to take that next step than what he should have, because they kept pushing Cena down our throats. Like,
pretty sure Cena probably didn't want to lose that merchandise check. I'm sure he was getting
oh man,
every month, being the baby face that he was. I mean, if you turned him heel, it would have been like,
yeah.
At that small point in that check might have moved.
Oh yeah,
a little on a monthly basis. But I mean, it's just like, you can be a super baby face in this business. You can be a super heel, and you can stick to one of those. But I mean, you look at some people who are shoved down an audience throats as a super baby face, like you just said, like a John Cena and a Roman Reigns.
Oh.
And people will get sick of it, right? They will boo them. Like and then it's kind of like a flip flop where, like, you put Cena or Roman Reigns against the super bad guy, the super heel, and they're going to start to boo them and cheer the heel because they're just so sick of watching them and seeing them, right? But then it's like on the other end of the spectrum, it's just like you look at a guy like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, that man.
And he was just the biggest, like, dick, right? You know what I mean? He was like a super bad guy, and people were just like,
I like that.
Like, this is cool. I like that. Like, and credit to him. It's not like he changed anything that he was doing. He was who he was, but, like, what they were trying to do and make him just didn't work. I think the fans just smartened up to him. They're just like, this guy's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Kicks people's asses. He drinks beer and he beats the shit out of his boss. Like,
and doesn't get fired for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
now
there's definitely a slight gray area in between the super baby face and then the heel, and then the handful of guys that can just kind of be in the middle and do what they want with their career and get the same reaction they want from the people at the same time.
Yeah. Like another factor, and before we move on, I will say Cody Rhodes, his last little bit of, his AEW run, they threw him in our faces as the super babyface, and it just was not working. Like, you can only do that for so long before the crowd's going to turn. And AEW's crowd is not a WWE crowd. They will boo the piss out of you, and it's one of them things to where you can't, you have to tweak it. But then he came to WWE and he hadn't been there for so long, but that crowd knew him, but they loved the American Nightmare, they loved the Kingdom, they loved what he was doing, and came out at WrestleMania to the biggest pop of probably his career for that while.
That was pretty impressive. And I think people need to realize too, like, there's no such, I like, in my personal opinion, I don't think there's a such thing as like well, there is, but like the casual wrestling fan has been overcome by the smart wrestling fan, right? Like, at this day and age, in this generation, in this era of professional wrestling, I feel like the fans don't like to have their, like, intelligence insulted. They're I don't want to say they're on to the business, but they're smart, right?
Yeah.
They know what they like, they know what they want, and they know, and they will pick up when they're trying to be force-fed something. And if they catch on to that and they realize, like, man, why do we have to keep seeing this guy over and over and over again? And why, like, they'll just get fed up with it, man, and they'll do what they want to do. You know what I mean? I think that's why certain companies and individuals and certain promoters, like, when they lose sight of that and they just lose touch with what the wrestling fan actually wants, is just when it starts to turn sour for them, because they don't realize, what they're giving us and what the product that they're giving us is not what people want to see nowadays.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's definitely an interesting time right now in this business, in this sport, but I think it's one of the best times too.
Yeah. So gaming and whiskey said everyone's dream: drink beer at work and beat up your boss. Yeah.
How's it not, man? I mean, how's it not? Unless you're your own boss, you don't want to kick your own ass. But I mean, shit. Imagine that, just being able to go to work, drink beer, and beat the shit out of your boss. Like,
yeah, like that.
Still, on top of that, too, and still be able to keep your job.
Exactly.
It's great. It's American dream.
All right, so moving on to the next question. Where would you like to wrestle for 2023? Is there a specific destination, or do you just kind of want to go with the flow?
Both, if that makes sense. Like Firestar Pro Wrestling is my home. If I had a date and Firestar was running a show on that day and 4 of the promotions said, hey, we'd like to book you for this thing, no. Like Firestar is home for me. I will continue to work for them and wrestle at Firestar until I'm told otherwise.
Yeah.
That's home. So I look forward to doing a lot of big things with them, and we've started to do some pretty big things with Firestar. There's definitely a lot of other promotions that have caught my eye in the Carolinas, but also outside of North Carolina. I mean, there's always the other big ins, right? Like AEW.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens here in the next couple of days regarding WWE, because that might change my mind slightly with whatever goes on with that, if that's something I'd ever be interested in. But like MLW is another promotion.
Yeah. What's going on about Six Hippies? How we doing, bro? Welcome in. Appreciate you for being here. Sorry.
No, you're good. MLW is another big one that I'd like to work with down the road. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla on the West Coast.
PWG.
Awesome.
Yeah.
PWG. New Japan Strong. They have their little sublet here out of the States now, which is huge. I'd love to do that. But, just go with the flow, man. There's a lot of places I like to work, a lot of places I'd like to be. And what comes my way is, I think, just 1,000% up to me. Keep putting in the work and keep putting on great wrestling matches. Hopefully there comes a point where you don't need to go looking for the work, and the work is going to come to you, and take it from there.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. One place that, hell yeah, bro. Glad you're doing well. One place that I would definitely like to see Alex Evans, and this is just because this is what got me back into the independent scene, DPW. I think you would tear it up over there.
I can't leave them out. DPW, who is like, in all honesty, is still kind of like in their infancy. Like they just had their 1-year anniversary show, but it is. Have you been to a DPW show?
I have not, because they run weekends, and I usually work on the weekends. Yeah,
but watching a DPW show and being there live
is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, you think it's cool to watch it, like online and stuff like that. But go to a DPW show outside of the talent that they bring in, and they bring in some absolutely phenomenal talent.
Yeah.
Not just from here in the States, but nationally too.
Yeah.
And the crowd, it reminds me of, it's so like ECW-esque.
Oh yeah.
The crowd is, and then they're so into it, and it's just, oh man, the energy in some of those buildings when you go to a DPW show is fantastic. DPW is definitely on a bucket list for me, 1,000%. That would be pretty special.
So, kind of going off topic, what do you think of? I don't know if you watch a lot of like YouTube people, but what do you think of Chris Danger? Finally stepping from YouTube and the comfort of his chair to like actually getting in the ring, managing over there.
I think it's great, man. I mean, like when you can be in front of that type of audience and being able to do what you love to do and to be able to do it well, it's awesome. And anyone that's willing to put in that work and take that leap and can do that, good for them, man. It's awesome. Like, again, this is not an easy thing to do. This is not for everyone. So when you can step out of that bubble that you're used to being comfortable in, and go out there and throw yourself out there and pursue this and do this, it's a special thing. It's an awesome thing, and good for him. Yeah, happy for him. I think he's going to do big things. I think it's going to be a nice little run for him.
Especially training down at flatbacks. Like, that's when like flatbacks is probably another one of those, I would say, like Firestar-esque little training places, because it's like they train you to not stay independent. They've both been on national television. Breeze was in NXT and WWE. Sean Spears NXT, WWE, and now AEW. Like, and it's crazy to think that like that school is just only down in Florida, and it's not an independent company. It's just a training school. And some of, like, just looking at how they ran. Driving home and listening, but wanted to say hi to Alex. Thor Effect Gaming wanted to say hi to you, Alex. I'm guessing that's someone that you know.
Yep.
But appreciate you for tuning in. If you do want to watch this full video, if you came in later in the stream, I will be uploading it to my YouTube channel. I will link it right here. If you give me 1 second. That's not the right one. Socials. Bam. And it'll be right there. You can type in Jed Powell, or you can type in Mac2Cool93. And if this is something that you just want to watch, I've got 5 other videos. I've interviewed a prop maker / Twitch streamer that's on here. His name is SG Mechanic. That was like the first one I did. I messaged a friend of mine by the name of Lucky Cap TV. He is a content creator. I interviewed Bobby Wasabi, who is a MMA fighter and now Firestar Pro wrestler. I interviewed Don Furio, who is also another independent wrestler. Met through Firestar, has wrestled on AEW, all the other places. Yesterday we did the interview with Morgan Dash, and now this makes number 6 in the last year for Alex Evans. But yeah, if you guys want to tune in to watch the full interview, you can watch it on my YouTube. It'll probably be downloaded and uploaded by about 7, all depending. So for you, where do you see your career in the next 5 years?
Man, still doing this, man. Still wrestling, still working. It's like once you get bitten by this bug, and you thoroughly just love doing this, I'm just gonna keep doing it until the wheels fall off, man. I still, obviously at the end of the day, you want to end up with one of the big guns and have a long, healthy career. So in 5 years, I would love to be in one of the big ones, whether it's New Japan, WWE, AEW, and who knows what might pop up in the next 5 years. It could be something completely different that we're talking about down the road too. Yeah. I will definitely still be doing this, and I will just continue to do it until I can't do it anymore, man.
Heck yeah. So I guess like the final kind of question, because I ask everyone this. Mm-hmm. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling? Could be past, present, or someone that's currently coming up now. Because who knows, in the next 20 years, they could be the biggest star
Man. Wow. I should have known that question was coming too. That's tough, man. It'd be so much easier if Mount Rushmore had 6 presidents on it instead of 4.
Hey, Morgan did 10. So if you want to do a 10-person Mount Rushmore, you can do a 10-person.
Oh, he did. Okay, I don't know if I'll do 10, but okay. Hands down, first off the bat, Flair. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels,
Okay.
The Undertaker, and if I could throw like two more that I feel like if there was a 6-person Mount Rushmore that thoroughly deserved to be on there, I would definitely say, I'd definitely say Austin.
Oh, for
I'd
sure.
definitely say Triple H. And I'd say Hogan too, man. So 7. I lied, 7. But those guys have just had some of the absolute best careers in this business and in this industry, and some of them still do. I think when it's all said and done, though, I do believe, like, Seth Rollins will definitely be on there.
Oh, for sure.
I think that's someone that 20 years from now, when you ask someone, what their Mount Rushmore is, I think you'll definitely see Seth on there. I think Cody probably be another one that a lot of people will say. But yeah, for me personally, though, that 6 or 7 that I just named would definitely be on the Mount Rushmore.
So Thor Effect liked your Mount Rushmore. He said I like that. I would add Angle and AJ.
Yeah. No, yeah. No, they would. You could definitely add them on there too. Angle, especially AJ. Yeah. It's tough, man, because it's just like you feel bad like leaving some of these guys out, right? Because they're just so good. But that's why, like, if I could have like a top 10, it'd be easier. But like 4 main ones I put on that Rushmore, the 4 that I told you.
Yeah.
But then again, like adding in those additions, I don't even want to say they're honorable mentions because they all deserve to be on there too. But yeah, Angle and AJ definitely too.
See, asking someone their Mount Rushmore, like it could be very selective because it's like your Mount Rushmore could be different than my Mount Rushmore. Thor's could be different. So like that's why I like that question. But everybody that I've asked that has always thrown Hogan, Flair, or Bret up there, and Shawn Michaels. So like it's one of them things, like those are like the cornerstones of pro wrestling and got people into pro wrestling. But for me, I
still feel like even like 10, 15, 20 years from now, no matter who comes along from in the next 10, 15, 20 years who may end up on that list, I still feel like those 2, 3, 4 guys we just named, it's going to make everything so much tougher because I think like forever people will put Flair and Michaels and Austin and Bret Hart. Like, Bret hasn't wrestled in how long, right? Like 20 plus years.
No, he wrestled when the Nexus was around. I mean, he didn't really take a lot of bumps, but he still wrestled.
He did that SummerSlam match. I think it was like a 10-man tag or anything. But I'm talking about like Bret in his prime. I think when he got that concussion from Goldberg was like 99-ish, I want to say.
Yeah, that's the stiff kick.
Yeah, even say like 21, 22, 23 years ago is when he first stopped wrestling as like the Bret Hart that like we know, right? And we're still talking about him today. I mean, Michaels was a little bit more recent. Flair is still to this day, which is just, that's all another story. But
I didn't have any plans to watch Ric Flair's final match. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Andrade. I love Jay Lethal. But like, great. Just watching Flair, and it's like there's a chance that man could have died during that match. And now he's one of those ones that will literally say, "I will die for this business." And
he might.
Yeah,
he actually might. And it's funny too. I remember I was listening to an interview with Ricky Steamboat recently. I actually had the privilege to watch him work. Down here at the Dorton Arena in Raleigh. In his last match, he tagged with FTR.
Oh.
And it was awesome. It was FTR and Steamboat against Nick Aldis, Jay Lethal, and I'm leaving somebody out, which I know was going to come back to bite me. But
was it Sanjay?
But yeah, no, it wasn't. It was Nick Aldis, Jay Lethal, somebody else. I got the poster hanging up in my theater room. But anyways, and I was listening to this interview with Steamboat, and Steamboat was actually offered to do Flair's last match.
Yeah.
They contact he actually flew down to Tennessee to talk about it with the Jarretts and stuff like that. And initially he had agreed to do it. He's like, yeah, but then like 2 weeks later is when he first found out that Flair actually like has a pacemaker.
Yeah.
And Steamboat was like, no, like I won't do it. He goes, I don't want to be that guy that's in the ring when Ric Flair dies during a wrestling match. So he's just like,
so it was.
I'm honored, but no. Which, dude, I thoroughly believe that's how Ric Flair is going to pass away.
Oh,
He's going to
yeah.
pass away in the freaking ring sometime. It's going to be one of the saddest things to see ever. But I don't think anyone's going to be surprised.
Because I mean, look at Triple H. Like last year, he had that freak incident with his heart. He's got a pacemaker. Yeah. Like he's like, I'm not going to do that. I've got kids to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was Jay Lethal.
I'm not saying. Yeah.
Brock Anderson and Nick Aldis, I believe.
You're right. Yep. You're right. It was Brock Anderson with Arn there. Yep. Brock Anderson, Jay Lethal, and Nick Aldis against Steamboat and FTR. Yep. Yeah. Great match.
Did not mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Oh no, thank you. I'm glad you did because that would have been killing me up until we got off this interview. But yeah, it was a great match, and I can tell you firsthand, like watching Steamboat throw an arm drag, it's like you watching him do an arm drag from 30 years ago. Still to this day, it's the sweetest, prettiest looking freaking arm drag I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna say somebody who, in my opinion, this is probably gonna be selective. But, I mean, Grant, he throws the prettiest scoop slam.
Who's that?
Grant Watts.
Yeah, his power slam.
Yeah.
It's like a running joke. I don't even think it's a joke anymore because I think it kind of blew up on the internet that I think he's Randy Orton's illegitimate. Because it's just, that's a talented guy.
Yeah.
And our paths have crossed. Briefly, and they definitely crossed at the last show at Holiday Slam, and him and I have some unfinished business that I'm really looking forward to taking care of here shortly.
Then if you guys want to, I'm gonna throw this out. If you guys want to watch a phenomenal 6 man scramble, it was 2 shows ago. It was you, TDT, Project Taylor, Grant, Oliver, and Morgan Dash.
Yeah. That was us.
That 6-man. I said it last interview too. That 6-man is probably one of the best 6-man matches I've seen in a long while. And that's not just. That's not saying, hey, it's, bad on all the other shows that I've watched, like WWE, AEW, but, like, in my opinion, with all the talent that they had in that ring, and for as long as some of these people have been wrestling and have not been wrestling, like, it stands up there, in my opinion, as one of the best 6-mans that I've seen.
Yeah, that was a very hard-hitting, action-packed match that I'm very proud to have been a part of. That was a fun night in the office that night, and it was fun. It was fun to be able to get in there and work with all those guys. But yeah, that's definitely so far into my career one of my probably, if not my favorite match that I've been a part of so far. And that's tough to say about scramble matches, man. 6 guys. Sometimes sometimes those types of matches are just hard to watch.
Yeah.
But start to finish, that one, not to toot my own horn or anyone else's horn that was in that match, but that was a pretty damn good wrestling match.
Yeah, because you got Project Taylor from Control Your Narrative. You got TDT, Alex Evans, Oliver Sawyer, great worker, Grant, and then Alex. Oh wait, no. Hold up. I don't think TDT was in it. What?
TDT was in it. Oh yeah, he was in there. Right?
And then but those 6 men, because it's all about, hey, I want to do my stuff. But like, when it got in the ring, everybody got to do their thing. Everybody did their thing on the outside. But like, a match that was very well put together. It wasn't just too much of, you know, one person getting their stuff in and another. It was everybody got probably.
No, man, it was from the time that bell rang to from start to finish. That was just a brawl, all out brawl, just hard hitting match that I think we're, you know, like I said, I was damn proud to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't come out the way I wanted it to, but I think I made my point made, and I made my statement that night, and it was a fun match to be a part of, and that one was, like I said, that was a fun night at the office that night.
So now, just to kind of close this out, I'm gonna pull something up from Alex's Instagram. There was a clip. I think, was it this one? Is it gonna play? Yep, it is.
And if we can, we do. And if we lift our heel off their necks now, they'll... Why? Hey? Why? Why? Because we fucking can! Because we fucking can. And if we can, we do.
This was at the last show.
Why? Hey?
But it's,
Why?
It's from the last show, the holiday stamp show?
yeah, when you aligned with when you attacked Grant and then teamed up with the one, I can't think of what their name is off topic.
Mark James.
Yeah.
Group.
Yeah, that group.
Marcellus King.
Yeah.
Mid-Atlantic King, and
Scoop him up!
Oh,
Fireman's carry right into a neck breaker.
There you guys go. So you can see his TKO.
3.
That's a really pretty TKO too.
thank you.
Hold up.
It scoops him up! Oh,
Bam.
Fireman's carry right
There we go.
into a neck breaker.
I mean, just some things like. And here's the picture of him with Ricky. Like, it's. Are you wearing your? What hoodie are you wearing?
In my picture with Steamboat?
Yeah.
That's actually a Bret Hart hoodie. Hitman.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, Alex is pretty jacked, pretty well, you know. I'm gonna pause that. But yeah, so I mean, there you can see, like, he's, like you said, he's 6'2", you know, 218. Is that what you said?
215-ish, yeah.
215. So yeah, again, if you want to follow him on any of his social medias, he's got an Instagram, which is _Alex Evans.
Instagram is _Alex_Evans, yep.
And do you have a Facebook like page or anything?
Alex Evans on Facebook, yep.
There you guys go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get we're gonna end the stream here. I'm gonna
briefly before we head out. Upcoming shows, Firestar shows
cool.
that I guarantee you no one wants to miss. That I will be on, Showcase will be on, and we got some big things in store for everyone at Firestar. January 22nd, we are back at the Firestar Arena in Greensboro, North Carolina for Blackout. And then February the 11th, it will be Gate City Battle, also in Greensboro. That'll be at the Boys and Girls Club in Greensboro. So tickets are on sale now, and they are definitely going to be two shows that no one wants to miss. I can guarantee that.
And I went ahead and linked Firestar's website once again. It's fspwrestling.com. And you can check Alex Evans out there. You can also check out Morgan Dash, who's been on the show. You can check out Bobby Wasabi on there. But, you know, the man that you guys want to come see is going to be Alex Evans. He is just freaking... He's a powerhouse. I'm going to say that. Like, he's hard-hitting. He's a powerhouse. If that's your type of stuff, definitely look up more stuff on Alex Evans. But for sure, check out Firestar Pro Wrestling as a whole. Amazing talent, amazing workers, amazing head trainer. just all around, probably the best independent that I've watched besides Firestar. Just some things that I've watched. That's me personally. Now, I'm not saying all these other promotions aren't good, but Firestar, in my opinion, is right up there and on the indies that I've watched.
Yes.
So
Best.
thank you guys for tuning in. And if you want to check out Alex again, it's _Alex_Evans on Instagram and Alex Evans on Facebook. So thank you.